I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. You are highly welcome. You are very, very, very much welcome. So, probably this is my first video on this platform, on this channel. It's not. My other videos, I was trying to test out something over the years, and it was shabby. But then I was just trying to put myself out there. But starting over again this year, 2026, I want to start with intention, with clarity of purpose, and with a sense of urgency, and trying to reach my world with the message I've been given and the impact I want to make. So I welcome you. If this is the first day that you are meeting me or you're coming across my video, I'm grateful and I'm happy to meet you. My name is Afia Pius Owoche, and I am a founder and pioneer in a very sophisticated platform that will build community that will help transform human consciousness and transform human's life. So I welcome you to this wonderful journey that I'm taking, and I hope we're going to have a very good ride together. So let's start. Today I just want to share my thoughts. It's 100% interaction. I'm not trying to share things that you don't know. I'm not trying to do things that you don't know. I'm not trying to say things here that you're not aware of. Some of them might come as a surprise to you. Some of them maybe not. Right? Some of them might be a surprise. Some of them maybe not. It's something you have had over and over and over again. And that's where the trick is. That's where the problem is, where we've had something over and over and over again that it has become a cliche. Like, for example, Jesus is coming soon, Jesus is coming soon. For some people, that's a cliche. It's not coming soon. Some people have, turned their minds and their ears off that reality that Jesus is coming soon. But the reality is that He's coming soon. And there are certain things, when I stumble into some of this information and this insight I'm going to share with you today, when I stumbled into them, I started thinking about things differently. It dawned on me that a lot of things that we have been taught, and some of the things we know, some of the words that we use frequently, words like love has been relationship, friendship, health. All those words have lost their meaning. And I'm on a mission to bring back meaning to those words, meaning to love. Like, when someone says I love you, what does it mean? Do they really care? Do they really love you? It's not just saying the word love out of an empty heart, but out of empathy, compassion, and a deep emotion, and a sense of love, true love. So my journey is to bring to life, to bring meaning back to those words. We live in an exciting time, and I'm so happy to be alive in this time. We live in a very exciting time. I want to see how 20 years will look like, or maybe 10 years will look like. I want to see it. I want to witness how 10 years will look like. I just want to see it because of technology. We see movies, science fiction movies, flying cars, robots, exterminator, like all this time, Genesis, Terminator, Genesis, all these science fiction movies telling us what 10 years or the future holds. I really want to see it. If AI will actually take over, or humans will win the battle, I really want to see it. So, and somehow I feel that humans might not win that battle because of the way humans are going there. We are delegating our potential. We are delegating our responsibility to AI. We don't learn, we don't do anything, we don't seek it ourselves, because I believe that life happens from within. Life happens from within us. It's not something that happens spontaneously. It happens from within. We are supposed to live from inside out, not outside in. But we have built a life, we built a system, a world that we live from the outside. So a lot of things influence us A lot of things influence our decisions, influence what we think, influence how we earn, how we make money, how we meet people. It influences even our health, even to our communication. All these things influences us because we are not taking time to sit within us to know who am I, what am I, what do I stand for, why am I here. We're not taking the time to do all these things. So we just live our life and um, being controlled by the outer world. So it has taken me 6 years to come to this realization. And one of the things I want to do now is to help people, start looking inward, start looking into their inward being to get answers, not just AI, not just the world, not just business, not just all these things we do, but let's try to start connecting with ourselves. So it's my delight to be here, and I'm grateful that we'll take this journey together. I have a lot of things to say, but today I just want to share some thoughts that I have from my book. 2020 was my best year ever. I know people might say, 2020 it was COVID, people died, and a lot of things happened, but most often I sit down and I thank God for 2020. I thank God for 2020. Like that year, I just before that year, 2018, 2019, I've already switched to psychology. That was my course in school. It was med lab, but due to a lot of carryovers, a lot of failing, a lot of heartbreak in school, people share breakfast in relationship, but my results were serving me breakfast. It was so bad. And one of the things I will get to show you my results, how bad it was. But from 2020 down to this time, I have experienced peace. I've experienced life of purpose and passion, and what it means to actually live a life of purpose. Yes, but it all started. The journey all started 2020, where in my desperation, I wanted to change my life because I had thoughts in my mind growing up, and it became intense when I saw all this failure that I was embarking on, that I was piling up for myself every single time in my academics before I changed to psychology. I was asking myself, is it not possible for a young person as of 20 to be a millionaire or be successful? And imagine some years down the line, I'm saying that. And I was asking, why is it that our parents have to stay for 50 years, work for the government for 35 years, retire, and then just have little or no savings, and sometimes build a house that's not completed and get a car that is wrecked. Nothing comes out after 35 years, or when you are 60 or 70, with your stick, crawling, trying to barely eat. I was asking myself this question, and probably before that time I was reading, because I saw content or read somewhere that says readers are leaders. Readers are leaders. Started reading, but somehow I had a consciousness. I had a program within me that was afraid to take action, to do things that would move me forward. I was heavily downloading content, downloading books, just reading. I had an iPad there. I had close to 2,000 books in there. Every week I was actually reading. But somehow I said to myself, this is not working. I'm not leading. I'm still stricken by fear. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So what is the reason? What's the problem? I was on the verge of giving up, and then it dawned on me that I should actually follow another path. That I'm not sure this reading part, this is a scam. Or somehow something within me kept telling me that if this is not working, then it's your problem, because I'm seeing the life of Pastor Chris, Bishop Oyedepo, and all of these great men of God and people doing a lot of things. But for me, why I called these were my template of success. I want to be a spiritual leader, right? A pastor to be precise, but I've soon changed my mind. But still want to do something that I mentioned, but something that is different from just having a church, right? And this is where Faith Revolution Institute comes in. Just want to throw that there. So these were my templates. I knew that if these guys were doing all these things, it also means that I'm the one that's the problem, not what they are teaching and what they are saying. I'm the problem. So That was what the subtle idea that kept me going. Then 2020 or 2019, before 2020, 2019, I made a decision that I was going to read again. But before I actually embarked and actually actualized that decision, I told myself I'm going to read 2 books. I picked up 2 books. One was hard copy, one was soft copy. I picked up The Power of Now and The Law of Attraction. And for some strange reason, I started reading The Power of Now. And after I was done with The Power of Now, I started doing, for the first time in my life, somehow I started doing exactly what the book was saying. First, the book talked about, and the book talked about enhancing your now, the power of now. Like, what you have is just now. What you have is just now. You don't have tomorrow. You don't have the next day. Right? You don't have yesterday. What you have is now. I found myself prior to that time reading that book, always thinking about the future, always thinking about the past, the future in fear. How will my life turn out? The past with regrets. Oh, look at what I've done. Look at what I didn't do. All those things piled up, and that was what, when I looked back, that's what made me fail in my academics period. So when I started The Power of Now, somehow I started thinking, somehow something started changing, because I could be talking to you, we might be having a conversation, and then I'll be thinking about what I'll go home to do. Maybe I want to read. I might be in church and thinking that I should be at home praying or reading, and which if I go home I will not pray, I will not read. And I'll be at home thinking that I have to be in church, there are things happening. I'll go to church still thinking about being at home. That was all that was happening, and it wasn't helping. But when I started reading The Power of Now, it changed a whole lot of things. I didn't complete the book till now. I've not completed the book. I think I got the message, and my life started taking a new turn. And then the second experience came when I read The Law of Attraction. When I was done with it, nothing actually changed. But a witness came. Somebody told me, why not go online on YouTube and get to know exactly what the law of attraction is. And I got there. The first person content I started watching was Steve Harvey. Yeah, Steve Harvey. So Steve Harvey. I started studying or listening to Steve Harvey. One of his content that was talking about that we ask not. So we have not because we ask not. In that content, he said something like, how will you tell a God that created the heavens and the earth in 7 days or 6 days, because he rested in 7 days? How will you tell a God that created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, rested in 7 days, to pull you out of death in 7 years or 7 months? You must be kidding. I'm sort shifted. Like I started seeing God from a new light. Oh, God is all powerful. So meaning it can change my life. It doesn't take so much for God to change our lives. I'm like, wow, that's great. That I don't have because I don't ask. That's what he said. I don't ask. Not what he said, what the Bible said. You ask and miss. You ask, I don't. You don't have because you don't ask. That is the book of James. You don't ask because you don't ask. Or sometimes you ask and miss. I'm like, wait a minute. So I've not been asking because I believe I've not been asking. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to start listening to him. And I started flipping. And then for some strange reason, I came across one white-headed man, pale man, called Bob Proctor. I am forever grateful for that man. I'm forever grateful for Bob Proctor, because Bob Proctor literally changed my life. Bob Proctor literally changed the trajectory of my life. I wouldn't have been here without the lesson he shared, because everything is shared from the time I started following him from 2020 till now. Everything is shared. He brought everything I've learned for close to 6 years together. I started piecing in the puzzle. Okay, this is what knowledge can do. So this is it. So this is that. So that's it. So that's it. I didn't know what happened, but then I knew that change has come. So I banished the thought of entering fraud or doing rituals for money. I banished the thought because I knew, okay, wow, this is it. But God taught me, showed me who I am, showed me what I'm made of. But probably like we are spiritual being, and as a spiritual being, our DNA is perfect. It requires no modification. It requires no improvement. It requires nothing. It is perfect. I have the DNA of God. That changed something in me. I have God's DNA. I'm a creator. I can do things on this earth. I can leave a mark on this earth. And some of the systematic information, some of the systematic things he shared there changed everything for me. So from that period, I started making intentional steps on how to change my life and how to get the message across. And then I learned something from him when I saw him doing interview. He has been reading one particular book called Think and Grow Rich for the past, at the time I saw him, for the past 58 years. He has been reading that same book for the past 58 years. And it dawned on me, wow, how is this possible? I started relating to myself. This means reading a particular book every day, every week, dropping it because I feel that I have so much knowledge to acquire, to accumulate. And this one man, not that he doesn't read other books. He has reading other books, but this particular book, he makes sure he read part of it every single day. That when he got at the books were the pages of the book were literally falling off. That he had to buy in the use something like a ring to put it together, to glue them together. And I thought to myself, this is something. This is good. This is good, and it makes me remember the podcast I listened to, where Adesina was saying that it's better to read one book, a good book, multiple times than to read books or a bad book once, but you read a good book multiple times. And that has been my strategy. That has been my experience. I pick one book and I read it over and over and over and over and over again. I pick a message and I listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. I pick a podcast and I just listen to them over. See, it becomes how I think. It becomes how I think. I can't think any other way because that book has not become my consciousness. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm in a process, and it's something I advise for you to do. So, and also I'm of an opinion that if I give birth today, or if you are giving birth, or you can take any human being from a place of birth and create 100 books, or at most 50 books on different subjects in life, create it and give to that child. We teach to that child till the child can learn it for the rest of their life. You don't need so much book to succeed. You need just minimal book over and over again, because I believe that when you start reading, when you put your attention to read a particular book, I believe that we are soulish beings, we are spiritual beings, and there are information in the ether, there are information all around us. Because I've come to understand that when we think, our thoughts doesn't just die. That's why the Bible says the word I speak to you, they are spirit and they are life. They don't die. Life is what? Life doesn't die. So words and thoughts are life. What are thoughts? Thoughts are internalized words. So as I'm speaking to you, you are internalizing those words and they are becoming your thought. You are thinking about them. And all I'm sharing here are my thoughts. So as I'm sharing them, as I'm saying them, they are becoming words. And then when they get to you, they become thoughts. When you speak, it becomes words. And when you think from those things that you are speaking, it becomes thoughts. So now, when you think, those thoughts don't die. They travel around the world. They are there. They are there. Your thoughts are like your children. One day they'll grow and you start attracting those things that you have taught. So I believe that when you pick a book, I think I have a book here. When you pick a book, for example, let's say this book. I'm coming. Let's say you pick this book, right? You pick this book, Built to Last. If you pick this book, now I believe that the author didn't share everything here. Yeah, the book is actually, let's see, the book is actually um, 12, close to 250 pages. But I'm of an opinion that the man, the author here, Jim Collins, didn't share all his thoughts here. Because if you share all his thoughts here, the book, you won't be able to pick this book up. So when I pick this book and read it over and over and over again, the thought he had when he was writing this book, I will start attracting those thoughts. And other thoughts that are similar to this book, what is inside this book. Right? So that's what I believe. So when I started listening to all these things, I just started finding wisdom, uncommon wisdom. I can tell you from 2020 till now, I've not read up to 50 books. I've not read up to 50 books. I've picked just one book and read them over and over again. I picked just few messages and listen to them over and over again. I picked just few podcasts and listen to them over and over again, because I found out that understanding comes through study. Now, why do we go to school? You see, what course are you studying? I'm studying medlab. I'm studying medicine. I'm studying banking and finance. I'm studying mass communication. I'm studying. You're not reading. You are studying, because your life is a reflection of your understanding. Now, the Bible said wisdom is a principal thing. Wisdom is a principal thing. In all you're getting, get understanding. As important as wisdom is, you have to get understanding, because understanding will help you apply what you know. So we call it study, because as you study, you understand. As you study, you understand. Now, the reason why, so when I started understanding this stuff, I started reflecting back, and I started telling myself, and started thinking that the reason why things were not really happening, why I wasn't taking action, because I wasn't studying. I was going different places, right? Reading different things, listening to different things, because I needed to accumulate knowledge. But when I understood that I need to study, I picked a niche. I picked a particular place to study, and that's about the mind. I had to do a thorough study about what makes us tick, what's the value of a human being, what's the potential that humans have, what makes us human, where are we from, where are we going, what makes people successful and others fail. As I started studying all those things, it became a foundation of what I now teach and I preach and I lecture if you care to want to learn. So I started digging deep and I started studying, and I can tell you that my life has not been the same. And I know what is possible, and I know why people stay stuck, and I know why some certain people are so successful, because they understand their mind. They understand that when you learn, you apply, and before you apply, you have to be able to understand what you've learned, what you've known. So these are part of things I shared in my book. Your spiritual toolbox, and that was the name I came up with when I wrote it 2023. It was the art and science of living. That's what I actually named it. It's quite funny, but the art and science of life, like the art and science of living, because I believe that living is an art and a science. That's because from what all I was studying, I believe that I just thought to myself, I didn't know that life was an art or a science, but art, that is ART, not the action. But most people do the acting. They like just as they give birth to us, we start moving, we start walking, we start we spring into activities. Whether our life is working or not, let's just get busy. That's how the entire human race has been. Let's just get busy. But when I started studying all these things, I realized that life is an exact science and an art. Why? Science deals with measurable concepts. They measure data. They don't believe in intuition. Like they want to know exactly how this thing works. That's science. They deal with data, measurements. Should we know, like, if you say God created the universe, who is he? Where is he? We can't see him. They want to measure it. They want to know statistically that this is like proving formula. They want to have this formula and come up with this answer, this hypothesis that okay, this is it, right? Art, on the other hand, is intuition. And before you even get to know or to have an artistic nature of an acting of the act you are doing, you have to even follow science, not like in a scientific way, like in as a field of study, but okay, this is how I will explain it. So for example, if you want to become a macho man, if you want to become a bodybuilder, what do? You go to the gym, you get a gym instructor, right? There is a science behind it, right? Your gym instructor will give you a particular instruction to do. For example, he can tell you to do a biceps curl for 10 sets and 10 reps, right? 10 sets, you do the reps, you do the bicep curls for 10 times, right? That's the reps. And set, you do it 10 times, you do it 10 times times 10 times, you pull it 10 times and then rest, and then do it again and rest for 10 times. You don't want to do squatting, you do it 10 times and 10 times, right? That is reps and sets. So that's the scientific way. The same thing with your arm, the same thing with your back, the same thing with every part of the body you want to build. Any part of the body you want to build, the same thing applies to it. It's science, a specific way of doing things. So you can't desire to be successful if you don't feel that there is a particular way of doing things. You cannot, because there's a certain way of doing things. You can't just get any course or do anything and then believe that you'll be successful. Life follows an exact science, and no wonder most of the world population are living in poverty and misery, and we just have selected maybe 5% or 1% earning a lot of money, earning what 99 percent of people are contributing, just 1% earning everything. So if you want to be among the 1%, you have to start doing what the 1% do. They study life. They don't just play random games. They study what they are doing. They study life. They live life to the fullest. They have lectures. They have boards. They have circles. They have teams. They have mastermind that produce their information and their knowledge. So if you want to win in the game of life, you have to know that life is an exact science and an art. And what is an art? You see those people, they have studied life so well. They have dived into some certain practices. They have done so much thing that you see them just, some of them eloquent in communication, some of them eloquent in relationships, some of them they just do things out of you that you feel that they are aliens with ease. They speak with ease. They start business and scale it. People like Elon Musk, they start it and scale it with ease. And you're wondering, do they have two eyes, two nose, and then you have one? But if you look at it, you have two. You have one nose, two nostrils. You have the same thing. You have everything with 2 hands, 10 fingers, 1 head. But what's the difference? They study life. And if you want to play their game, you have to do the same thing they are doing. So I was saying that the art and science of living was the first title of the book, but I have to change it to the spiritual toolbox, because I told myself that the art and science of living, there's a content for it. There's something I'm going to share there. It's a book on its own. I'm so excited to want to write that book, because I just feel that what I shared in this particular book will not really reflect what the title is. So I have to change it to your spiritual toolbox. And why do I have to change it? Because the stuff I shared there are 4 principles that have helped me navigate life: the principle of faith, the principle of grace, the principle of affirmation, and the principle of prayer. These are the four principles, concepts that has helped me navigate life. I ban on, like, I cannot overemphasize how these principles have changed my life. So those I call it a toolbox, your spiritual toolbox, because we are spiritual beings. Now, can you imagine a doctor without a toolbox? Can you imagine a carpenter without a toolbox? Can you imagine an engineer without a toolbox? Can you imagine a mechanic without a toolbox? They all have toolbox. We all have toolbox in our professional level. We have toolbox. For example, a doctor will not use a carpenter's tool, a hammer, or a nail. A carpenter will not use an engineer's tool. An engineer will not use a mechanic or neither a doctor's tool. They all have their own tool. And that tool helps them to work effectively. It helps them to be successful in what they are doing. Now, it's not different from you. You have it too as a human being, being a spiritual being. So before you even know that you have it too, you have to know that before you even know that you have it too, you have to know that you are a spiritual being that live in a physical body in this dimension. The real you is your spirit, is your soul. This is just a container. For example, if I take a bottle of water and I drink it, once I'm done with it, what do I do with it? I throw the container. What do I do with it? I let the container go. Or I take a bottle of wine, and once I'm done with the content, I throw out the bottle, except certain wine that the bottles are more expensive than the wine. Okay, so we keep those ones. But somehow, you get what I'm saying? You just throw them out. The same thing applies to you. You are a spiritual being, you're a spirit being, and you live in this body. This is the container. If I take out my soul and my spirit, I become just a pile of meat, and then give it 3 to 4, 10 days, or maybe 60 days later, you can't find this. You find just bones. You are a spiritual being. So you have a toolbox. You have a spiritual toolbox. Now, these 4 principles I shared, they are still vast, right? There are still a lot of them that I need to share. I need to share the tool of imagination and visualization and meditation. I have to share them, but if I put them to the book, it's going to be bulky. So I think I'm going to write a part 2 of the spiritual toolbox. But the particular ones I mentioned there in my new book will actually change how you live your life, because I actually did a lot of study, scientific study. I didn't just embark on intuition and just read and gather knowledge and put here and there and then share it with it was my experience. It was things I learned. It was things I studied, because I failed a lot. I dropped out from school. Till now, I'm still not a graduate, because I'm trying to build a platform to share this before I get back to school, to do the course I like, psychology. I really want to do impact there. So I have had it so rough, very rough, in relationships, in health, communication, money, finance. I've had it rough. So I know what I'm saying when I share this in this book. I know exactly what I'm saying. So it's my intention to get people, a vast amount of people, to start walking by faith, start taking prayer seriously, start affirming, right? I'll share more on this in subsequent content, and maybe also if you want to get the book, I share some of these things vastly. You can check it out for yourself, because it's so impactful. It has changed my life, and I believe it can change your life also. So these two books are very important if you want to have a successful life. You want to have a very successful life. You can't do away with these things. You can't. I don't even know why I even have to name them your spiritual toolbox, because there are things you've learned, you've known, faith, prayer, affirmation, grace. What are these things? These are things I started hearing when I was growing up till the day I even dropped out from school. I had them. But from 2020, things started changing. And I've dived a lot, studied these things. And now I'm sharing them with you so that you can have a good and successful life. Right? So I look forward to create more content to help you navigate life. I look forward to see you being the best you can. So it's happening so fast. Life is happening so fast, and you might feel that you are not where you want to be, and you are not catching up, right? But there's hope. There's hope. At the scent of water, you can still spring. You can still spring forth. You can still board. So I want to stay put as I share the journey in my book, and if you want to get a copy, it's available. You can, reach out to me via my handle and get your copy. I believe that as spiritual beings, we are not just here to survive. We are here to make impact. As spiritual beings, we are not just here to while away time. We are here for a purpose. And sharing this journey with you is one of my most exciting things to do, because the principle I share there, they are so important that they can transform your life in less than a year. I do tell you that you don't need so much time to transform. At least 6 months you should transform. If you know what you're doing, if you can apply knowledge, you'll be transformed. So my goal in life is to help you take what you know here, right? What you know in your head, and become it in your mind, in your spirit. Become it, and then you start doing it. That's my goal. You have knowledge, then turn that knowledge into who you are. In that knowledge become a personality, becomes who you are, becomes what you are, and then you can start doing. That's my goal, and I believe that if I can achieve that, I've done a lot, because we live in a world where information is flying. A book where you see information, you flip your phone, and there's endless of knowledge, of content, and most people think they're in the illusion that they have known those things, but no, you've not. There's stages to knowledge. What you've done, you just did there. What just happened when you have an aha moment when you see a new video or a new content is awareness. You became aware. Oh, this is possible. That's awareness. You became aware. Oh, it's like just a light spring forth. But then you have to study, and that is study that will make you into that thing you've known. So a lot of people just take content and then, oh no, you don't know it yet. You have to sit with it. You have to listen to it at least, or read that stuff at least 7 times to get it within you. So that's my goal, my purpose. Not to just give you information, but to help you navigate through that knowledge and make you what that knowledge talks about. So I think these are far you can go. Before I leave, if you enjoy this content, if you find it amazing, or something that resonates with what you'll be looking for, and you feel that someone out there would like to learn this, I would like you to share, to like, to comment, because it will help us to grow faster. I'm being in the community. I'm not just here to make money, right? I'm trying to build a community where we get to learn, share opportunity, and grow. So if you want to be part of that community, I want your loved ones, your friends to be part of that community, here is an opportunity, right? Share, comment, like, and I'll see you in the next video.